Lazy Monday podcast.
Lazy Monday podcast, which is probably not going to come out till Tuesday.
No, it'll come out Monday. It's just really late Monday, probably.
Like while everyone's asleep, so technically Tuesday.
Had some scheduling issues for this one, so it's just me and Nate this time.
Woo!
Party in this bedroom. It sounds kind of sexual.
Anyways, today we're
Keeping us on task.
Today we're going to be cutting through all the gunk and stuff to get you guys up to date on our thoughts through, I don't know, what are we doing again? Is it games or is it
Lazy
movies?
podcast, roll with the intro. Boom! What a great intro. I love that intro. It sounds awesome. It sounds so cool.
You cut to this intro every time, and it's the same.
And
don't you think that?
And it's the same level of awesome.
But don't you think it's going to eventually get
Who made that song? Do you know?
outplayed?
Do you know the name? What was the name of the song? I'm blanking on it too.
Darkness dubstep? It's somewhere on audio.
Look in the
file?
link for the description. Look in the description. Yeah, there you go. It'll be
awesome site. You guys should check it out. You can get some licensed music to put in your videos too. Who knows? We'll get the entire library
beautiful
with all the money that we have.
All that YouTube's money.
All that Ubis tubes.
A couple extra S's in that. So what's the first topic you got for us today?
First topic. Final Fantasy fans. This is going to be a hit on your part. Unfortunately, the translation has been taken down of Final Fantasy Agito on the PSP.
Agito? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I believe it's Agito.
I thought it was... The article I read called it Type O.
Oh,
Final Fantasy Type O.
Yeah.
Unless that was a typo. High five. High five. High five.
Fuck off. Anyways, so Final Fantasy Type 0.
Oh.
The translation got taken down.
Yeah.
What do you think about this, Sage?
I'm kind of curious why. I get there's the copyright issues and everything. This might mean that they're coming out with an official translation, because, I mean, this one was an unofficial one, right? So...
Well, officially they're coming out with what we believe is a remaster HD version of this, which...
But there was no English version of this. It was only released in Japan.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it might be the fact that they're taking it down because they don't want two translations competing against each other.
They might be taking it down because they don't want... Well... Whatever, fine.
I would think that a translation would only help their sales unless they were planning on releasing a translated version. Because, I mean, otherwise, how are they going to... If it's only in Japanese or whatever language it came out in, how would it sell in the English markets? Well, if a fan makes it, then I would buy the game and then get the unofficial translation if there was never plans on being a translation, if I was that diehard of a fan. So probably there's going to be a translation in the future.
Well, there is. Well, yeah, officially there wasn't a translation, which is what led to this. But I guess that with this remaster coming out, they felt that they needed to take it down. And unfortunately, the fans are going to have to pitch in some more money.
Yeah, I do feel bad for the guy. I mean, it was a fan translation. So that means this guy kind of did it, essentially for free. Yep. And it's like it just had to get taken down. Like he didn't... the story that I read didn't say like he like got hired on or anything like that. It was literally just So all that work you did translating, voice acting, and putting all that into the game for the patch, it's like, well, now just take it down. We don't want you to do that anymore. Which I guess is the risk you take making fan art ever. But I feel like that's kind of a sucky situation for the guy.
Yeah. Hopefully we get Final Fantasy 15 eventually, but
Well, this has nothing to do with Final Fantasy 15, but I do agree with you because that looks awesome. It looks so cool. There was another thing I read about. I read about this on GameSpot. Did you hear that they're making a one night only live performance of select scenes of the Last of Us featuring the original voice actors and everything like that? Like, I don't know if it's just a table read or if they're acting it out, but it's gonna be like this next upcoming week.
That sounds awesome, but I thought there was going to be a movie that was coming out of that eventually. You know, like there's going to be a movie of Metal Gear Solid and all these other games. But maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be.
Well, I don't know. There wasn't anything about the movie, but I do know that this is apparently a free event because the tickets are free. And as well as they'll be live streaming it over Twitch and I think YouTube, and I think there was one other one they were streaming. But yeah, so like anyone can go and watch it who is around. I forget the link, but you should Google it, look it up. It's pretty cool.
Except for the fact that all the tickets are probably gone.
Probably.
You remember trying to get into the Sony press conference as they're doing in theaters? Yeah, that was instantly gone. So this is probably like, as soon as the information got out, it just...
Most things like this are always instantly gone. So almost always.
We'll be joining you guys on YouTube and or Twitch and is it just YouTube and Twitch?
I think there was one more, but I forget the name of it. So yeah, it's
and
just
the other one that we don't know.
That one other streaming service.
And hopefully we will all... I don't know.
I think I mean it's essentially thing. Just a tape. I mean essentially just you get to watch them perform it, but it's nothing you haven't seen. If you've played the game, you haven't seen it. Although you were telling me some PS4 owners haven't played the game because of a stupid statistic that is bullshit.
I haven't played the game, and I am a PS4 owner, so I can
preferences
directly.
What do you mean by this?
Agree to that.
Preference, what you're saying. So what's the statistic that you read and were telling me about?
So many of our watchers maybe know this, readers, whatever, listeners.
Probably not, though, because you're all stupid.
You're a dick.
I love you. Audience, I love you. Go ahead.
I don't hold your hand. I spack it away.
Go ahead.
And stare at you like you're an idiot. But
role-playing podcast.
But anyways, the statistic was that from Sony, they gathered some information that apparently most of the PS4 owners...
There is a percentage, but I don't remember it either.
Most of the current PS4 owners have not played The Last of Us. So they believe that this remaster will help bring the experience of this amazing game to more fans of the art.
Now, the funny thing is you say that. You say most PS4 owners haven't played The Last of Us, which is true. But the reason this statistic is around is because most PS4 owners didn't own a PS3. So it wasn't that they had the game like you. You have the game on PlayStation 3 and just didn't play it because you're a lazy fuck. It's because they didn't have the ability to play it. So there's a bit of a difference.
I completely
have no defense at all. Correct. Good job, Nate.
My defense is this.
You're a lazy fuck.
I was busy.
Say it.
I was busy.
Yeah, things have been busy around here, actually. We've been, unfortunately, we have been releasing our normal content, but we haven't had a short out in a while. We have one coming up, though, soon, where it's going through its final phases of post-production.
Hopefully it's going to give you guys a taste of the stuff that we're going to be running through real quick, and, yeah, you guys should be...
Bit more action-oriented.
Yeah.
Rather than me being in front of a stupid green screen.
We're going to blow some stuff up and set shit on fire, and you guys are gonna love it.
Not in this short though. Just hopefully in the future. We have no money. Send us money.
The next short.
We can make some stuff.
The next short, there shall be explosions and helicopters, and I demand at least 7 Megan Foxes.
Well, I mean, the Megan Foxes are a given. Of course we're going to have those, but I don't know about explosions. The helicopters, probably, but we'll see.
Wait, so you're testing to compositing in
Megan Foxes?
An explosion, but you can do an entire render of a human being.
Let me ask you this. Could it be an explosion of Megan Foxes? Like, can I mix the two? Is that okay?
I swear to God, if I log on to YouTube and I see that you uploaded a video of an explosion.
Exploding Megan Foxes. That'd be great. I would watch that movie.
Next podcast may only be one person.
But on top of that, I just wanted to plug a little teaser for you guys. On top of hopefully getting some more action-oriented shorts, as well as shorts that are a bit longer in length. Excuse me, I'm burping all over the place. We're actually
every time you do that, it looks like you're gonna throw up.
Bleh,
Like I want everyone to know, everyone who's listening, just
throw up all over the mic.
He just lunges forward from his chest, and then like whips his throat and goes. Bleh.
I want to know if like that actually like comes through on the audio side. Like if people actually can picture now, like if you go back and listen to me hiccup.
Maybe we'll get some fan art of what they picture, and we'll be able to tell
of me nearly puking on a mic. But we're also looking into, now this is a very far future, but some animation stuff. We're currently working in Blender because we don't have any money. For actual
Which
programs.
is awesome. Everyone look up Blender. It's
actually, yeah,
sexy.
It really is. I was really surprised going into Blender. Like I was like, it's free. It's a free software. Most free softwares you get, not that great. But then I actually opened up Blender, and since Blender's beginnings, it's actually added a lot of stuff that really are great tools that can get you where you want to be. It's kind of annoying. The interface is confusing, but after you work around in it a little bit, you start to kind of get the gist of it.
Yeah, I mean the learning curve is really steep, but
which is for any 3D animation ever.
But if you guys play Dark Souls or anything, you don't have any room to talk because that game is ridiculous. Oh my God, I can actually say that I've played Demon Souls and raged quit to the point where I literally just gave the game to someone else because I couldn't beat it.
Oh, you're talking about like learning curves?
Yeah.
I will say I am an avid fan of, I know we're on a total tangent, but I am an avid fan of Dark Souls. I played it. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 yet. Haven't had the money to go get it, but I played Dark Souls 1 like 3 or 4 times through. It actually is a game where, like, if you really give it the time, you learn it. Like I remember once picking it up and just immediately getting smacked down and being like, what is this? I hate it. I don't like it. And then I went back, and what really helps, in my opinion, with like Dark Souls, just because I do want you to play it, look up lore videos. For some reason, lore videos, like you watch the lore video, and then you pick it up and you start playing, and then you're like, oh, it gives context to everything that it doesn't actually really tell you. A lot of the stuff that you would get out of the lore, you have to find and like really analyze and think about. But if you like look at other people's ideas and things like that, it actually makes the game kind of fun. I don't know.
Sage. I want to remind you.
I like the game. Shut up.
I want to remind you, you're talking to a guy who hacked Plague Inc. because he got pissed off at the simian flu.
Really? You hacked the game? So you like cheat codes, or like how do you hack an alpha? Apparently pretty easily.
Maybe you should watch the Let's Mod video that I will never release because I'm too lazy to put it up. I don't know. Maybe if people really want to learn how to do all this stuff, I'll teach them. But it's fairly simple. It's
or
like literally click, done. I rule the world. Haha, people are dying.
How great would that be
Fool.
if that was like actually how
Fear me.
hacking worked? Like, you always see them in movies where they're, like, typing up this crazy code and everything, but what if it was just, like, drag this thing, click, all right. And
can you imagine if it's literally, like,
I
a
now
guy
own the
at a
banks.
computer who just copy and paste lines of code? He literally doesn't type anything. He just goes, Control-C, Control-V. Control-C,
Hacking 101.
Control-V. I just won $1 million.
That was some
I
hard
think I'm
work
satisfied
right there.
with my life.
That was some hard work. I'd like to see him get hired to be a computer programmer or something like that, and just, like, he sits down at a computer and he's just like, I have no clue what any of this does.
You hacked into the Pentagon, and you don't know how to program a computer. How do you math?
What is this programming?
Let's be honest. I'm surprised I even made it through the door. I didn't make it to the 5th grade.
I dropped out of school at the age 5 to become a international computer hacker. I am anonymous.
God. All right, so what's our next topic that we got?
We were talking about we were talking about video games movies. I would like to go back to that because there is a new Halo movie or not Halo movie. It's another series that's coming out that's gonna be pretty cool.
Is he gonna look funny like he's a giant robot that can't move?
I
and
hope not.
somehow is able to overpower things that are way more agile than him.
Well, the thing is with Master Chief, you have to remember is he is technically half machine. So I mean, I get where they were going with that. The one thing I think they did that I don't like is I feel like the Master Chief costume they made just didn't seem to fit the actor very well. Like I feel like they had an actor and everything like that. I think honestly I like live action stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's artsy. I think especially with what was it? It was Rising Dawn or something like that. Was the last one. But it's like it's very artsy, very cool. But the fact is you can't really portray how amazing Master Chief or any Spartan really is unless you throw in a little bit of CG in there. And I feel like they kind of tried to do as much as they could practically, which made Master Chief kind of look robotic because I mean if you like read the books of Halo or anything like that, which I've read some of, he essentially was trained as a ninja. Like he is as agile as a ninja. Then they put super armor on him. So it's like he actually has amazing reflexes, can move around like this. He's not 100% robot. He's a bioengineered guy. But it's like, how do you show that with an actor who might not even be very athletic in the first place?
You cast one of the guys from the Raid.
True. Although I'm sure that armor is very restrictive as well.
They'll work with it.
I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're going to do a decent video game action movie, make it animated. I feel awful saying that, but I loved like Advent Children. I love the action in that. The story was a little lacking. The voice acting was okay. But I felt like they at least portrayed the world correctly and the characters correctly, which I like.
I think there's a certain point where you have to just do it animated. Something like Final Fantasy, mostly all, like 90% of these games, if they were to translate to movie, would have to be animated. Because it's just, there's so much CGI that would come into it that it would either just look terrible or it would be amazing. And most of the time, it's going to look terrible.
Yeah.
The only games that I would say could be live action is something like Call of Duty or what's the other one? Maybe Gears of War?
Maybe.
But very iffy. But I would say that Metal Gear Solid would be able to come over to live action most likely.
Yeah,
if they didn't screw up like
I feel like a lot of those games that you listed are grounded in reality, whereas games like Halo, what's another good one? I'm trying to think.
What
of
about
another
The
good
Last
one.
of Us? What do you think about that one?
Last of Us could totally be live action. Totally.
so?
Easily be live
You
action.
think they could pull off the makeup for the...
Yes, because
zombies?
I've seen people like fans do makeup that well. You can get a professional to do makeup that well. And I mean, it's a zombie film, so you can do. I mean, I know it's not exactly zombie, but you could totally do that one live action just because that game exactly that. It's grounded in reality. But the second you start playing some like Ratchet and Clank, how do you do a live action Ratchet and Clank? Like,
well,
you gotta make it
first-
animated.
You have to... Dude, you
The
don't
fuzzy suit.
understand. You have to do it like they did the old Planet of the Apes. You got to get those furry suits on.
Perfect. Continue. I want to hear this. What's your synopsis of how you would make Ratchet live action?
So it's a mixture of the furry suits from Planet of the Apes.
Of course.
Some alien suits,
Okay.
like the movie Alien and Predator, and what's another one where they have those weird rubber suits?
Yes.
Other monster movies with some
I'm
humanoid.
totally following you.
And then you just have to have
A
all
large
practical. All practical. And you have to make Ratchet look like a giant robot
Ratchet. Yep. Okay.
who
that
can't
makes
move.
sense. All right, directors out there. That's there's how you make Ratchet and Clank the live action movie.
I swear to God, if someone actually makes a movie off of this, I'm going to just...
I'm pretty sure no one's gonna try to make Ratchet and Clank a live action movie. I don't think you can make that art style correctly in live action.
You say this. And what did they do? They made something like The Last Airbender.
But there's a little bit of grounded reality in that too. It's just it had awful CG. I mean,
No,
you could,
okay,
could do.
I'll be honest. I was
Airbender
I was
live.
actually fine with the CG.
Really,
The story sucked.
really, you were fine with the CG.
Yeah, I was fine with the CG.
Fucking get out of here.
No,
Holy shit.
I'll honestly say I was fine with the
The
CG.
CG was awful.
The thing that was awful about it for me was just the movement and the butcher of the actual lore. That
The
was
movement. What do you mean by movement?
because in the actual show, it's not that they have to do this giant like 5-step process to shoot out one fireball. It's literally like it's a sword or a gun where you punch, fire comes out. It's literally not this whole dance where you're all, I have to summon up the energy to lift a small boulder that I could have thrown with this amount of people.
But you can say that that's essentially a problem with the CG because the CG was not enough for that 5-step process. I could accept a 5-step process if they were to like fucking raise a mountain out of the ground or some shit like that. But like that one scene, that one specific scene where it's like 5 guys doing this choreographed dance and one rock goes floating across the screen, like that's bad CG right there.
I won't say bad CG because that was literally the director's decision that it should only be one rock. So I could be the VFX artist and literally like the supervisor and just be all, this is gonna look like shit. But this guy is telling me I have to do it this way, so I have to.
Literally, they could have made. I could have even accepted if they took that one rock scene and like copied and pasted the rock like 4 more times. Had it be the exact same rock, but at least it was 4 of them, and like just increase the speed a little bit. Like
I don't understand
I'd be totally
why it
okay
was
with
so
that.
slow.
Oh my god, it was.
And the fact was that it actually hit someone who was staring at them bending this thing, and it's just, oh my god! Oh.
It was like an Austin Powers moment. He was like, "Stop!" But it's like, I feel like the worst part is, and no offense to M. Night Shyamalan, I know he's had good movies in the past, and I'm sure he's trying to do something. I think he's had a pretty bad streak lately, but it's kind of a thing of like, the worst part is Last Airbender could be done well if it was given the proper work. I mean, the fact I understand live action can never be what animation can be. Animation, you can just go buck wild with it. You can go as far as you want, as your imagination can see. But the thing is he just reeled it back too much, as well as and and I don't really know what the decision to change to the name changes as well as the character changes were. It almost seemed like he really didn't like if we were to see somebody who actually was a real fan of the Avatar series try to make it, I don't get like there were characters that just didn't play their character. Like there's simple things you could do to make that movie so much better. But it's like those steps weren't taken, and I don't get why they weren't. So I would even say Avatar could be done live action. I just think it wasn't well in that.
If I had the money and the knowledge, I would so remake it. But currently, I'm poor student who's sitting in a bedroom.
Poor ex-student.
But
I mean, I don't know. I think that's a kind of a thing you see in a lot of video game movies. Either they changed something that didn't need to be changed, or there was just something about it that seemed like it was lazy. I feel like the Doom movie was a lot like that too, where it's like it had really cool effects. Really, I mean, that one had everything good except for a bad script, a really weird section where they went into first-person mode. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, I mean, the section had... The only issue I had with that section was that it just didn't blend well with the rest of the movie.
It was unnecessary.
It wasn't really motivated to me. Like, it was all, oh, well, he's superhuman now, so now we're in a first-person view?
Yeah.
But why? I mean, they could have did something where it's all, oh, well... Maybe we're doing a couple first-person views for their helmet camera or something. And then I would be all, okay, well, fine. I'll just deal with that. But it was just,
Well, it was a good reference to the game. I get that. I get why they did it. But the thing is, they didn't do it well. Where it just was like, oh, here's a reference to the game kind of thing. Like, they didn't put it into a thing where there's so many more creative ways you could have done that. In fact, your way could have been great. Where he's like, all right, let's do this. He puts on a helmet cam, and it could go into like almost a GoPro like thing where that was a natural transition to why we're in his eyes. I think a little bit of it as well was that technically that moment in that movie was supposed to be the big action scene.
Yeah.
But they told it through a first-person perspective so that they didn't have to do all the crazy jumps and flips and all the shit that he would actually do in a third-person perspective.
Okay, so if I was planning this,
which of course
I would
are,
actually change up the entire movie so all the horror sections was in that first person view.
That could be kind of cool.
I think it might work well. Maybe. I don't know.
Let's
I
get
really
some
don't like
previs on this.
I don't know. We need some previs. Sage, you can do all the modeling, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, totally. I only just started into my Blender class, but yeah, I can totally make a Doom monster.
Good.
Perfect.
Because we're about to make an entire 3D game for you guys.
No, we're not. Not yet. We are not.
I swear to you.
We're trying to keep up with Rooster Teeth. They're making a game, so we're going to make a game. Shut up. Two guys can do it.
Rooster Teeth. I was trying to keep up with like everyone, like Rocket Jump and Corridor Digital.
Are they making a game?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait, actually, they did.
I was about to get really excited.
Technically.
What,
I think someone
the
made
Flower
a game
Warfare?
for them.
Are you talking about that iOS game?
Oh, now they have 2 games? Dude, we're so far
You haven't
behind.
played that game?
No, they have the Flower Warfare, and then they also have the Terminal Endless Runner. Which,
I haven't seen that.
God. That was the most brilliant idea ever because literally it got me to sit down at a computer playing that for hours because I was trying to
I'm going to have to look
get
that up.
farther than everyone else.
I've only played Flower Warfare. I have not played this Terminal game you're talking about. I wonder. It's probably a fan-made thing, though. I would think that those two things are fan things that they like made official kind of thing. It's what a lot of people seem to do. Is like a fan will be like, "Hey, look, I made this," and then like, "Here's some money. Let's put this out for everybody."
Isn't that the same thing that they did with what Rooster Teeth is doing with the Ruby game?
Yes, it was a fan thing, and I think it's still available online. But essentially, Monty, the director of Ruby, played it, loved it, and was like, I would like to fund this. And so he's like, you are now working for me. And the really cool thing that I think I don't really know if this guy is prepared for or not, but he's going to have an entire team now because the Ruby animators will essentially also be character designers and animators for the Ruby game, and we'll switch over to that in between seasons, which when you're one guy in a room making a game
by yourself,
and then suddenly you have money and resources and people, it's like how do you make that? No, most people transition into that. Like they become something where now you're a team, and now you bring that team up to the next thing or something like that. Where he went from one person to an entire group of people. Like that's a big transition.
Yeah, and for everyone else, it is incredibly difficult to manage an entire team, especially when it's your first time, because you have to get to this point where you're all okay. Well, I can trust them to be able to do this amount without burning everyone out.
Yeah,
but I don't want to feel lazy and just everyone else is doing my stuff, so all I do is just check up on them. You kind of have to do stuff with them so they don't look at you like you're literally a boss, but you're a leader.
Well, and the biggest thing about managing a team, that I find is you have to be, when you yourself are an artist, you want to be creating whatever it is you're managing. But the problem is it's almost a full-time job just keeping up with what everyone's doing. That a lot of times your job is not as much I'm creating and everything like that. You're just kind of being exactly what a middle management is, and it really kind of sucks because you feel bossy. But it's like you point at them and you say, you do this, 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 and I'm going to make sure everyone's happy kind of thing. Like that, like you essentially take on that role when it gets big enough. Now, when like the teams me and you have been doing, like 3-4 person teams, maybe even less, maybe it's just me and you end up having maybe 3 or 4 guys that wear 3 or 4 different types of hats for each production, and that way you kind of get a little bit more of that Band of Brothers feel. But like if you go anywhere between like 10 to 30 people, suddenly now your job is not as much, hang this light, film this scene, do this, do that. It's more just make sure that this guy hangs this light and this guy does this scene, and it is hard to strike a balance between a leader and a boss, and that's always difficult. How do we get on this topic? We were talking about the Ruby game.
Yeah, as we swear one day we will get rid of our ADHD and we'll be able to stay on topics and not go on tangents.
Never.
You need to stop taking so much caffeine.
I will take as much as I want. The
next topic is,
well, before we move on, just as the last thing, the one big business philosophy that I have is a lot of I find, especially coming out of film school, a lot of people kind of have that mentality of they need to fill every position to the point where they have 30-40 people on set who do maybe 1 or 2 things, which is kind of how the professional business model is, where like you have one person, that way nobody gets overloaded with too much work. But I find that a lot of times that actually adds headache and slows things down more than the people that do, they're 1 or 2 people and they're run and gun, get it done kind of people. And that's what we kind of are trying to be. We're trying to kind of limit that a little bit. We have a lot of people that have been like, let me work with you. I love you guys. I owe you whatever reason they have for wanting to work with us. But we tell them we will once we have something for you. Me and you kind of take the reins a lot of times and do everything because we want to know what we need help with, which a lot of times is art department, camera, something where if we're in front of the camera, we need somebody behind the camera. But it usually only is one person. We don't need an entire team for just camera, an entire team for art, because it becomes excessive and it becomes almost diminishing returns where you got 40 people to lift up a shower curtain,
I will also say we should probably try to do an outdoor thing.
It's hard. We're in Arizona.
I mean, but it's so much easier on lighting.
Oh, it is. I completely agree. I think we need to either move to a different part of Arizona or something, because for those of you listeners who don't live in Arizona or don't know about Arizona, Let me give you a good example of outside. There is little to no cloud coverage ever. It's mostly dirt or concrete, which also bounces up heat. And it's usually 120. So going out and filming for 12 hours a day, 12 plus hours a day, I mean, it depends on how hard it is what we're doing, while trying to keep continuity between shots of sweatiness. Like, that's actually something where it's like, if we're dry at the beginning of the shoot and then we shoot scene 2 at the end of the day and we're sweating buckets, it's a bit of a problem, bit of a continuity error.
And we're amazing at continuity. Especially gun continuity.
Definitely.
Oh my god.
Nobody look
Sage.
at the guns. Don't say that. Don't say that. Nobody look at the guns. But it's like, it is difficult because we are in the middle of summer. We're hoping that, at least I'm hoping, come October, November time, we'll be able to start filming outside again, because it's just middle of the year, during the summer and spring times. It becomes actually a health hazard to film outside, more so than even is it easier on us. It becomes a thing of, now we're worried about, people passing out from heat exhaustion or heat stroke,
or from your skin peeling off, and then you're just sitting there like a dead iguana, just.
Exactly. I actually was on a set where we were over a bridge, and I was like, hey, I'm out. I'm really pale because I work on a computer almost 24 hours a day. So this one time I'm outside, I'm like, I'm going to take my shirt off and like tan a little bit. And I didn't think about it for about 3 hours and put my shirt back on and was just like, man, this shirt is really itchy. And then later on, man, this shirt hurts. It hurts really bad. And I took my shirt off and I'm just red all down.
And this
so
wasn't
bad.
the only time. There was another time we were on another set out in front of a pool, and he decided to do the same thing. Literally,
I didn't learn my lesson.
Literally 20 minutes in, I look over to him. I'm all, Sage, you're turning red. He's all,
no, I'm not.
no, I'm not.
What are you
I'm
talking
perfectly
about?
fine.
I'm tanning. You have to turn a little red to tan.
Then we get to lunch, and he's just sitting in the chair, just, oh, it hurts.
I couldn't put my shirt back on. I was shirtless for the rest of the set day. Everyone kept asking me, like, Sage, why you were inside? Why do you have your shirt off? And I'm like, I can't put it back on. It hurts. It was so bad. I was a lobster. That's Arizona for you, right there in 4 words.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can get sunburn in cold weather too, but
yeah, I'll agree to that. Along with every time there's a breeze, it just dries out your eyeballs.
yeah, it's
not cool. It's just
hot air.
warm.
Yeah,
It's like when you open the oven and it's just.
Actually, that's a great example. Everyone go put your oven to about 120 degrees and just stick your head in it. Congratulations, you've now had the Arizona experience. Right there.
Wow.
But that's kind of why it's hard. If we hopefully around midsummer, I know, and this goes back into talking about getting more action shorts and things. It's when it's a small crew and you don't have to worry about setting up 4 or 5 lights to light the scene, and you have the sun and a bounce card.
You can guerrilla shoot,
and you can move a lot faster. And I think that's a big thing for us is the short that came up. We had a lot of trouble with the fact that we moved the camera. Well, now we have to move the lights but we have to make sure that even though we move the lights, everything looks the same. And that took a lot of time, which I don't know if it 100% worked, but
I think we need more powerful
choice.
lights.
Audience choice. But yeah, that's always difficult. And I mean, it's also difficult with the sun because you have to move with the sun, but it's it definitely is a boon for those who don't have a lot of equipment and can't use or can't really shoot interiors with such a small crew. It's a lot harder. So being able to do exterior, you also kind of have a little bit of fun, like finding locations. That's always a little bit of fun too. So
Hop this fence, run from this dog. You've reached your location.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of fun. Good exercise.
Oh God.
But let's get back on the gaming. Let's get back on games topic. How much time we got actually before I continue on?
We're at like 40.
40? Okay, we got a little bit of time. There was did you hear about Activision is getting I think it's Activision is getting sued by a former dictator for his representation in their game in Spec Ops, I believe it was.
Let's be honest. Is there any Call of Duty game that hasn't had some random controversy? Because remember, Call of Duty 2 had the controversy of the whole, oh, you're playing this double agent who's with these terrorists, and now you're mowing down an entire civilian.
Oh, you mean Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Call of Duty 2 is different. Call of Duty 2 is like World War 2 or something like that. But I get what you're saying.
They know what I mean.
Yeah, they've had their controversial streak. I wouldn't exactly call this controversial. I'm just kind of curious. Like, I'm pretty sure we've portrayed almost. I mean, Call of Duty's portrayed a political leader in almost every single one in a bad way, in some kind of bad way.
I actually thought they made up all their political leaders except for like Hitler and maybe if they put in Stalin, but I don't think they put in Stalin ever.
I think they put in what's for Cuba? I'm trying to think of his name now. Castro.
Oh, Castro.
They put Fidel Castro in.
They did.
In and that was in Black Ops. That. So same thing. It was Black Ops, but then it was another guy. But apparently he's saying he's suing him for libel, portraying him as a child kidnapping, like a really bad guy. I don't exactly know what all of it was, but the funny thing is I think he just got out of prison from like drug charges, like cartel drug trafficking or something like that. So I don't really know if his wait, you're portraying me as a bad guy really stands very well.
Well, it's like maybe, but I think that there's this level of bad guy. Like there's, oh, I stole some money. Then there's, oh, I killed your dog. And then there's, oh, I murdered an entire continent of people.
Right. But
I smiled while I was doing it.
But I don't know if, I don't know. I don't really know if, I feel like his part in the game was pretty small, actually. Like, I mean, he wasn't portrayed as a good guy by any sense of the word, but I don't think his character was that big. So, yeah. And I don't really know how do you go about licensing a likeness like that? Like, hey, you're the main villain in our game because we think you're just a generally bad guy. So could you sign off on this paperwork for us to use your likeness? Like, how do you go about that?
Hey, we're gonna make you look like an absolute douche. Are you okay with that?
Like, do you like what do you do in that scenario? Do you like? Do you have to make up all of your characters then? Or?
I think it's way easier if you just make them up. In my opinion, like it's just.
And just base it off of real events?
Yeah, just base it off of real events if you want and just make up the characters' names. But even then, people will be all, hey, you stole this likeness of me and you just changed the name. You know, like, I don't know. What was that thing with GTA 5 where they were getting sued? A lot of people are getting sued for likenesses in video games.
Is it a movie or something? There was this lady, I think, that sued for her story. Like all the names were changed and everything, but it was her story was in a game about her in some war or something like that, and she was suing for the theft of that. I don't know. I feel like there's people go to suing a little too fast, and I don't really know. It makes studios really guarded about like what kind of stuff they take in and what kind of stuff they don't.
And to jump off of that, there's a very great news about the film industry, which is why they're doing all these intellectual properties, which basically means that they've already been done in some other sort of medium or something, so then they can be all, no, it wasn't based off of this guy's idea who's randomly came out of the woodworks and suing us for it. It came from this comic book that everyone knows.
Yeah.
Because back in the, I don't know, early days, everyone saw what Hollywood was doing, and everyone was all, it is very easy to sue them. I can get millions. Hey, you know that game that you just released? Movie? Whatever? I'm suing you.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because it's like you can license a script. You can put a copyright on a script. You can't really do it on characters or genres or anything like that, but you can put it on a script. And if and it's kind of like a thing where like if Hollywood wants to make a movie and like make this big epic story and everything like that, and there's somebody whose script kind of resembles it, he can be like, you stole my story, even though it's just because Hollywood didn't do the research to find out what scripts have been licensed for what.
So literally, like, for Hollywood, they just now we're done. We're not taking any just spec scripts that are based off of someone's random idea. It has to be an intellectual property, which sucks.
Which is really, really hard because it's really hard because it's like it becomes a thing of when you force it's hard being a poor, starving artist wanting to, see all these things. If you have the opportunity to make money off of a lawsuit, a lot of people will do it just because we really do need the money. It's like we're starving down here. But it's at the same time, it's like the second you do that, you make the studio have to put up its guard, which then, in a roundabout way, makes it even harder for you to get your ideas out there.
Which, for people who are suing, there's unless it was something super huge where they like demolished your entire name and everything, then I could see you going and suing them because you don't care at that point. But if it's literally just you just wanted the money, you're damaging yourself in the long run for so much because the studio's literally going to be able to blacklist you that it's kind of a diminishing return. So I'd say it's absolute last resort if you have to sue someone.
But I would say I mean, and
it's
like
easier
I said,
to kill them.
We do not recommend that at all. But there is the possibility, I think, that you say, hey, listen, my script was a lot like this. Is there anything I can do to help or something like that? I don't know. I mean, there's a level of not bending over and taking it, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. I always like to preach the whole idea of let's all be friends and make movies together and everything like that. And I know that's not how it works.
As long as I can stab you in the back.
But it's like, at some point you gotta realize that when people start, it's actually a thing. We were at RTX about 2 weeks ago, and I was at a panel where they were talking about somebody asked, do you ever take like community script ideas and things like that? And they were very careful about how they said it, but they said they don't really look even at those scripts, not even like read them and consider them and then email them back or anything like that, because they worry that on the off chance that they get a script like that, they read it, and then maybe they do something that was influenced off of that script. That person that just sent them a script, even though they're sending them a script saying, "Hey, look at this. I want you to use my idea." They can sue because they guessed it,
Which is so difficult because anyone who's tried to make anything, literally almost 90% of the stuff that you're going to ever make is always drawn off of something that inspired you in your past, including a book, a movie, or some random event on the street. So for making stuff where people are literally looking for every way to get money from you, it is you have to have your guard up like all the time.
Yeah, and it's rough too, because it's like, I would love, I mean, I always want to hear people's scripts. Like they send me their script ideas and say, hey, could you read this and like give me your thoughts and things like that. And I mean, I do, because I know I'm at a level where it's kind of a personal thing. It's friends sending me scripts, but it's like at a certain level, it's like I can't read that many scripts, as well as if I were to even consider doing any of these, it's like now I have to work with this person, which they might have written a good script. Doesn't mean I want to work with them. No offense. But it's like your script personality and your personality could be very different. But it's like if I don't bring you on or I don't pay for your script and go through the massive amount of paperwork it takes to legally buy a script from you, then it's like like I said, it becomes a diminishing return. It becomes a thing of I might as well just have not read it and came up with my own idea and not had to worry about it, which even my own idea can be technically copywritten if it's, as you said, inspired by something else. I always talk about how I want to do something like this, but the odd thing is I have to be very careful whenever I say I want it like this. It's like loosely based off of it, not like I want to do an Alien vs. Predator movie. Let's just do Alien vs. Predator fan fiction.
And off of that, it's like literally you could just walk up to someone, hey, I want to make a movie with giant robots in an intergalactic war, and they come to Earth to fight people. What do you think of?
Yeah, well, and it's even like, and going back to the Activision getting sued thing, it's like it's even a thing of you can get sued for if your character is kind of like somebody else in a little bit of a way.
Oh God!
It becomes too much. Like at a certain point where it's like people just are trying to find ways to make money, and unfortunately, suing is just too easy.
Yeah, like Lindsay Lohan is suing Grand Theft Auto 5 again.
Again? How many times has she sued?
The first time she tried to sue, she lost because they were able to produce the person they actually based it off of. With
was it the daughter
paperwork.
character?
I think it is a daughter character. It's literally the blonde one that's on the cover in the bikini. Yeah. And now she found another person that looks kind of like her, so she did another lawsuit about that one.
Because, everything's about her.
Yeah. Hey, this person has the same hair as me.
They must be me.
They're getting arrested. It's me.
That's my story right there.
Yeah. If they're getting arrested, it's instantly on the radar because that's what I do all the time.
Nobody else is blonde and gets arrested. Just me. Just her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too easy. There should be like a large form. I mean, I know there's probably a lot of paperwork to sue somebody, but they should like triple it. Like make it to the point where it's like a 3-week venture just to get the lawsuit to be put into court. And then after that, then there's a whole thing of lawyers' fees and everything. Like, make it harder.
Oh, my God. Do you know how... I just want you to realize how ridiculous that is. Because you wouldn't even wait for the Kickstarter to go up because it took like, 7 days?
7 days.
And you're literally pulling your hair out.
And 7 days is a long time to wait on Kickstarter time. You should preference this. This was when we were back doing Hellsing, which everyone should check out. It's the trailer's on YouTube. The film itself hasn't been released. It's still in post-production, but which is being done by our friend Brian Tooker. Yep. And they're looking for a I think they're in the current looking for a sound designer sound designer.
Yep.
To do the final mix, and hopefully it'll be out soon. But we produced that. Hopefully. But we produced that, and check out the trailer. It's on our thing. But that one was where we go to talk about Hellsing? Oh yeah. Nope, I lost it. Where were we talking about Hellsing? I'm totally blanking.
Oh my God.
You were talking about.
You need to stop taking drugs.
Oh, you're talking about Kickstarter. So yeah, we made a Kickstarter for that one, which unfortunately failed. Everything came out of pocket, which leads me into more why we're broke and poor. But it was a very, very cool film, I personally think, for something we produced while we were students at SCC. And so the Kickstarter was supposed to go up the day of, but I didn't do the proper research, and I had to make a business account, which takes 7 days to verify. So already the account was the project was going to go up 7 days late, which means it was going to go 7 days into production. And I was just like, I was pulling my hair out, like, why does this take 7 days? And I eventually did enough research to find out that it's really the bank's fault. The banks are slow to verify that kind of stuff.
Well, they have like so many millions to deal with.
Yeah, but that's essentially what I did. I was in charge of fundraising and which I didn't. I guess me saying we failed at the Kickstarter, I mean I didn't do a very good job, but we were going through that, and currently Ryan, who was the director of that, they are Art of War Pictures, Brian and Ryan, and they are doing a Kickstarter, which he's going through all that as well again, to put up the Kickstarter for their movie Woman in the Mountain, which they're also doing through SCC.
Is it Woman of the Mountain or In the Mountain?
It's one of the two. Woman of the Mountain, Woman in the Mountain. Kickstarter up soon, which is gonna be cool. Me and you helped out the Kickstarter on the Kickstarter video, which was really cool. They have a really interesting idea. I'm really excited to see like how the effects turn out, because it's like borderline horror, but like mostly fantasy western, which is cool. The SEC's never done a western, which will be really cool.
Don't worry, they're gonna change the lore completely, and make it a robotic monster, and
then get sued for all their money.
And then get sued by
Activision.
Stalin. And they're gonna get
pretty much.
Bringing it back around.
But yeah, I wish them best of luck, and definitely check out their Kickstarter. I don't think it's up yet, but hopefully it'll be up either next week, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that's shout out to them. Shout out to Art of War Pictures.
All right. Well, we're coming up on time.
No, we're not. We got one more. We can do one more topic. You had one more.
All right.
What was the last topic?
Speed through. Okay, last topic.
Speed round.
Sony and Microsoft are pissing me off because they are considering early access. I do not like early access at all. Other people might disagree with me, but
now
fuck it.
I will say the one thing I do like about this, and I'm going to talk like 3 times speed just so everyone can talk about it, but I think the biggest thing about this is they're trying to draw in more indie crowds to the platforms. I mean, indie really is kind of exclusively PC right now. There's not many indie titles for the consoles. So, and early access really is the model for early access is primarily for indie titles. I mean,
It should only be indie titles. I swear to God, if I see Battlefield early access, I'm gonna pull my hair out.
Well, technically, major release games have already had that, because Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3 had early access. Battlefield 4 had early access. I'm currently playing Destiny.
And alphas when they should just be demos that are polished, that we don't have to go, hey, this is broken, and then they don't fix it.
Well, the one thing I will say, I think that they should do, if they're gonna do their early access, they're gonna do their early access. But what I think they should do is exactly the way major games do it. Destiny, their beta is from this day to this day, and then they go out of beta, close it off, and work. I feel like a lot of times with early access, you'll see they open it up for anybody to buy, and then it's just open. It's like and the switch from early access to official release is just changing the title.
Yeah, and then literally there's none of this launch event where people are so hyped because they saw all these trailers or something. It literally is the point where it could be like, hey, new AAA game got released like 20 years ago for early access. It finally now got...
Firefall just came out, I think.
It finally now got its official release date. We're holding an event. No one showed up because he got pissed off with how broken the game was when it released, like, the first year.
Because nobody understands that it's a beta. Everyone thinks that's the official game.
And to me, it just downplays the whole hype that will come from that. Because literally people just be playing that game for months and months. And as they just keep adding on things where they're all, here's this next world, here's this next thing. It's just going to add up to the point where it's all, I already bought this. I already told the rest of my friends not to buy this because I didn't like it.
Because then you don't get game.
And then you don't get the thing where it's literally, hey, there's this giant event. You get so much money from everyone else because they're all, the trailers and stuff looked awesome.
Opening night sales go away.
Yeah, opening night sales will go away, and
but
it'll literally just be, hey, there's an early access party for this launch of this early access game that.
But I mean, if they do it the same way that they've been doing it with early access, where it's like even an indie title, you can still pay to get into the early access, but the early access isn't, alpha, and then, oh, there's an update. All right, now it's less alpha, but still alpha. If they were to say, all right, the alpha is from this day to this day, which could be three weeks, it keeps an indie developer on a schedule. Because I kind of feel like the problem with early access is you essentially don't have to be on a schedule ever.
You can just release the game like whenever you want.
But if you're like, you get 4 days of alpha, you get 4 days of beta, and then in between those days you work on the project, and you essentially have to hire your own testers sometimes. I mean, no offense into developers, I understand being poor and everything, but you get your access to worldwide testers in small increments, not whenever you want. And that's how it really should be, is you take the data you got, then you go into beta. Then you take the data you get from beta, you go into final release. By final release, you should be there. I could accept 1 or 2 debug updates, but after that, you need to have it. You need to have it in the bag.
It can't be something where it literally there's a bug that crashes the entire game, because a bug that big should have been noticed and should have been taken out like day one. And I will disagree on alphas, because I really do not like public alphas. It was interesting, but I did not like that it was called an alpha, because it should have just been beta, because alphas they have alpha testers. And I feel like it's literally just killing that job for people. So it's literally just more people that are going to be coming back.
Free work.
It plays so well, because it's like, I can get a bunch of free people to come and play this game that they're so hyped about, and all they do is just this alpha tester's job. Well, let's fire all the alpha testers and let's just go to the community for this, right?
And one other thing on that point is the fact that I personally think when you release it to the world for alpha testers, or even if it's a limited release, I feel like there's a little bit of an information overload. Like, I feel like there's no way you can track 5,000 people who may or may not report the bug. It's like at that point now, it's a month just going through the bug notes.
Yeah, and then I feel that literally it's going to be like half of them are going to be spam. The other half is just going to be someone's opinion about how this gun should be overpowered, or how this gun is underpowered when it's like a pistol.
Yeah.
Which those can be. And then literally you're just going to have like the 1 out of 100 that's good, and then you're going to have millions to sift through.
Yeah. But I feel like when you actually make it a job and you make it a team of people, like maybe a team of 10, 20, maybe even 50. I mean, 50 I could see, but the fact that you can manage a team of 30 to 40, and that's much more. People can the cool thing about a team of 30 to 40 is like, I'm playing a game, I find this bug. Let's say I'm the alpha tester. I find this bug. I look at them and I say, "Hey, did you see this bug? Oh yeah, we already know about that. We're working on it. All right, great." And I continue playing. Or it becomes, "Hey, have you seen this bug? Oh shoot, I haven't seen that bug. All right, great." And now you already know about it. You don't have to sift through crazy patch notes or crazy 30,000 emails of people that are saying this was broken or that was broken. It's much more personal. And yes, you may get less testers and you won't be able to stress test things like servers and things like that. You won't get that, but you shouldn't be stress testing servers until beta anyway. I don't really think a stress test should ever go into an alpha, because you're not trying to stress test that. What you're trying to do is make sure that the mechanics work, that the maps don't have rips and tears in them and things like that. So I personally think, actually, especially in the indie crowd, you're probably better off with hiring or getting a small group of testers, even if it's your friends, who just sit there and take notes of your game. Yeah. Because you're not having to sift through thousands and thousands of people.
And I feel like these alphas and betas were created so it could be a demo, but you're able to dodge the fact that it's not the finished game, and you're able to still get money even if a person's not going to buy the game because they had a bad experience on the alpha. And then with this early access, you so get the money because people are buying a game that isn't finished yet. You're buying a product from someone, and saying, you're going to do this, right? And they could literally go bankrupt. They could just cancel the game, or they could just not show it forever. You could literally get The Last Guardian. Like, if Last Guardian released like something like randomly where it's all, hey, we're doing early access for The Last Guardian. I do not want to play The Last Guardian with early access. I want to play the finished game.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see how the future goes, but hopefully there will be I kind of feel like Steam doesn't really do this very well, but hopefully there will be a little bit of a quality management with the consoles, cuz shit's supposed to be a bit more quality managed than on consoles than I think PC. PC is like a grab bag. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right.
Welcome to Sage's Thoughts from Sage.
Okay, good.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bop.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next Lazy Pod.
Till next week.
Thank God we're not doing final thoughts again.
Life is great.
Keep it lazy.
Bye.